Do workshop mini sharpeners actually work? I'm going to be going through a review of the pocket knife sharpener and the micro sharpener, a knife tool, both from Workshop. Now, I bought these myself, they weren't sent to me, but I thought it would be good to check these out. I'll be going through each of these, letting you know if they work. I'll give you some details about them, and then we'll do a comparison and I'll tell you which one I like the most. So hang around to the end for that. Should be interesting. So starting with the pocket knife sharpener. So I have already opened this, but I just wanted to show you what comes with it. So it comes with this cardboard wraparound, which when you take it out, it has some instructions of how to sharpen. So I'll leave that there. If you wanted to pause it, you can have a quick look on that. It also comes with a 3-year warranty, which is good. And let's go through some of the details. So you can see it's made up of 2 sharpening sides. This side here is a medium 320 grit diamond plate. And then on the other side, there's a fine grit ceramic rod. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the grit of this is. I'm guessing from the feel of it, it's probably something around 1,000, something like that. Now, the weight is 1.6 ounces or 47 grams. So it's pretty light. And I quite like the contours on this. So you've got something good to hold on to when you're doing the sharpening. It also comes with angle guides. Now the angle guide on the diamond plate is set to 20 degrees and on the ceramic rod it's 25. The size, it's 6 inches in diagonal, which is 150 millimeters. It's 45 millimeters in depth, which is 1 3/4 inches, and then across here at the widest point it's 15 millimeters or 1/2 inch. It also has a couple of holes in it, which I guess you could use to attach to a lanyard if you wanted. I guess this could fit in a pocket fairly easily. It looks fairly robust. The ceramic rod is well held in, so I think you'd have to drop it fairly hard to break it. I haven't tried that. This is a US company and this product is made in China. If you want to see more details on it, you can go to worksharptools.com. There's also a really good user guide on there as well. So should we give it a try out? To try this out, I'm going to use my trusty test knife, which I don't care if I damage it. I'm blunting it on this Lansky puck, which I use for sharpening axes and garden tools. So it's fairly coarse. Give it a quick test. Right, yeah, that's better. What it says to do on this is 10 strokes each side, alternating. So I'm going to use the guide. So I'm holding it and I'm pulling it towards me, but I'm being really careful. One of the things about sharpening is that you've just got to focus on it. And in talking, I've lost count. So let me give it about 10. Is that 10? Right. I'll count this time definitely. So going this way. The angle guides are really useful. I'm trying to get all of the knife blade across this. I'm just going to give a couple of extra passes on the tip because it's easy to miss that. And again, I didn't count too well, but let's see. Okay, I think that's a good start. So let's try the same for the ceramic bar as well. So I'm using the angle guide. So this angle is slightly steeper. And again, I'm trying to get all of this. So that was definitely 10. I've just realized I'm not good at talking and counting at the same time. Let's give this a quick check out. So I would say that was super sharp actually. You could strop it, and I would normally strop it afterwards, but I'm just checking out the sharpener. I think this works really well, nice and easy to use as well, a nice format. I think the guides are a nice touch. The diamond plate is excellent for getting it to that first edge. Hi everyone, just a quick break from the video. I'm a small channel and your views really help me. If you could subscribe so you see more of my videos coming up in the future and it's easier to see my back catalogue, that would help me too. So please consider subscribing. Now back to the video. Here we have the micro sharpener. So I've already cut through this. I didn't want to embarrass myself by cutting my finger trying to get it out of the pack. So it comes in this pack, and inside there's a guide on how to use it. So it talks about alternating 5 to 10 strokes per side. For the sharpening, that's using the diamond bar, and then for honing, switching to the ceramic bar and essentially doing the same again. So I'll leave that there if you want to pause. Let's just have a quick look around it. Now, the first thing, and I didn't really look at the measurements, so when it arrived, it was smaller than I anticipated. So that's my bad. I should have checked out more closely. It does say it's a micro sharpener. It is in a nice little format though. I quite like this. I quite like that you've got good grips on either side to hold it. And as you can see, there's a diamond bar and then there's a ceramic bar. I have used this a couple of times already. And then it comes with 3 Torx bits as well. There's a T6, a T8 and a T10, which is great for knife maintenance. I think that should cover most of them. And there's a magnet socket in there. Now it's in a plastic housing, but it's quite high density plastic, so it should be fairly robust. And obviously you wouldn't want to over torque it if you're tightening up a knife as well. If you've got a stuck Torx bolt, you might want to use a different one so you don't round this off. But in general, I think that's a really nice touch. There is a lanyard as well. I'm not quite sure why I would use that. It might help you get it out of a pocket or a pocket in a rucksack. So let's just check out the size. So going on the diagonal, the longest part, that is 65 millimeters or 2.5 inches. And the thickness is just under 10 millimeters or 3/8 of an inch. So that's the size. The weight is 45 grams and 1.6 ounces. So it's actually very similar to the pocket sharpener in weight. So I guess it's the bits that are adding a bit of weight as well. So that tells you a little bit about it. Now, I don't know exactly what the grit is. I couldn't get that information, but it says that it's a medium grit diamond rod. So I'm assuming it's similar to the one on the plate on the pocket sharpener, and again that it's a fine ceramic rod. So now we've seen it, let's give it a try out. So here's my trusty test knife. As always, I'm going to blunt the edge as if it's had some really hard work. Just giving it a quick test. And I've had some people say that I'm trying to trick them, but I'm really not. Sorry for the noise. Let's give it one more try. Yeah, it's really difficult to get that started. So it says 5 to 10. on each side. So again, there are the angle guides on here, but it's a really short rod, so I'm just doing the bottom half of the blade, giving it somewhere between 5 and 10 goes. Then I do the top one, and also give this somewhere between about 5 to 10 goes. Going the other way, let me hold it this way, I think that might be safer. Hopefully you can see this okay. I find it quite difficult to stop it before it starts cutting in to the other edge. This is much harder to use than the pocket knife sharpener actually. I'm really finding it difficult to see if I'm actually sharpening the whole length of the blade because it's so short. Okay, let's give this a quick test. Right, it hasn't had so much effect, I think. And I think this is because it's really difficult to tell how much of the blade I'm sharpening. Now, if you've got a small pocket knife, then this may be easier. But I'm not finding this very easy to use. I think that's okay. It's not quite as good as the other one. Let's switch over and try and use the ceramic rod. So again, I'm trying to do half of the blade at a time. Switching over to the other side. I think eventually this is going to cut through on each of the guides because it's really hard to do it without stopping. The guides don't seem to work quite as well on this either. I'm trying not to put too much pressure, but I really don't feel much resistance from this at all actually. And I'm having to focus to make sure I don't cut it towards my finger. So you could use the pull method, but obviously the guide, it's not quite so easy to use the guide then. Let's see what that's like. I think it's not bad in the middle of the blade. But it does feel a bit patchy. I'll do a few more and see if this makes any difference. It might be that I didn't do enough on the diamond rod. I can obviously see that some metal is coming off because it's getting darker. So because it's such a small surface area, it's easy for that to get quite dark. Right, let me just, okay. So I think we got there. I'm not quite as happy with the outcome as with the other one. Comparing the two. The micro is very small and it does need a lot more passes of the knife to get it to sharpen. But I think it will work. I think you need more patience, and the benefit is it does have these Torx bits as well. So I think that's a big benefit. But the drawback is it's not quite as easy to hold this. It doesn't feel as steady in my hands as the pocket one does. So looking at the pocket again, this, you've got a much longer area. So if you're pulling the knife across, then for this size knife, I can do the whole knife down either the plate or the rod. So do workshop mini sharpeners work? Well, yes, they do. This one has a benefit of tools, but I think the big drawback is it's such a short sharpening area. The pocket one, on the other hand, doesn't have the tools, but then if you have traditional knives, you don't need the Torx bits anyway. Most of mine are traditional or a Victorinox, which are pinned, so it's less of a problem. And I would definitely pick these out of the two. Neither are that shabby, both will work, but I think this one works better, is easier to use, and in fact is probably slightly safer because you've got a better grip and it's easier to keep the knife steady. Let me know what you think in the comments, and why not try out this video or this playlist. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.